Republic. This is Wrestling Republic. Wrestling Republic. This is Wrestling Republic. Wrestling Republic. This is Wrestling Republic. Wrestling Republic. This is Wrestling Republic.
Good evening from London, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are listening to Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. Your one-stop shop for professional wrestling, insight, news, and reviews on a daily basis. And it's Sunday, and you know what that means. It means it's time for the Collision review. And over the last few weeks, well, AEW Collision has been a bit below par. It's not quite been up to standards, but did it bounce back last week? Well, it's time to find out. And let me start by introducing the co-host of the show, Mr. Clark Taylor. Clark, how are you?
I'm doing well. Stoked to be here. Happy Sunday, everybody. We got some NFL football today. We had good wrestling last night. We had the UFC yesterday. I don't have anything to complain about. I'm stoked to be here as usual.
Well, we certainly didn't have anything to complain about yesterday, Clark. We had a day off, both of us, right? And
True that.
I didn't go. I saw on TV Arsenal win 5-0 yesterday, so I was delighted. And then in the evening, we had a birthday party for my girlfriend. It was really, really nice, lovely evening. But while that was going on, this man in the comments, Shard, hosted a fantastic episode of the daily broadcast. But a certain controversial take was had on that show where Soul said that he thinks all tag team championships should be intergender. This was then posted to the Instagram, and World War III happened. Welcome to this show, Soul. How are you today? There he is, drinking his tea.
Hello, gentlemen. You've just caught me enjoying the salty takes of the Wrestling Republic universe here. A very fine delicacy, I should be for myself. But yes, of course, as you all know, I posted a little opinion yesterday that sent full-on World War III, and I think brought the hurricane outside my window to the United Kingdom. I mean, who knows what takes I might drop tonight just because you responded that way. So yeah, drink up, boys. It's going to be a fun take today.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, as the TikTok goes. But last but certainly not least, we have the host of Take It to the Table, Chaos. Chaos, how are you?
What's good, everybody? First off, I just want to apologize to everyone in the Wrestling Republic community for Soul's take. Clearly, he basically got inspired by Rene Dupree and then lighted a cigarette off screen with a toaster. Allegedly, so that's what I'll leave it right there. But anyway, I am glad to be here. We're going to be talking about Collision, and also, by the way, Ben, do not get happy about Arsenal winning 5-0. It was against Crystal Palace. Half their team was already in AFCON, and they all they had was Essie, and that's so they couldn't do much. It's all good. You're better than us. You're doing better than us. That's what I'm saying. You do better than United, but it's Crystal Palace anyway. But let's get all straight to it, shall we? And stop. Yeah.
We got Super Mick Arteta. He knows exactly what we need. But we got a few comments here. We got Bobby Petito in the comments saying Evil Uno teamed with Stu Grayson at Deadlock Pro Wrestling last night. That's certainly interesting. Of course, the Dark Order. That is certainly very interesting indeed. We got a comment from Itaza Rabani on Instagram saying, acknowledge your tribal chief Roman Reigns. Well, acknowledge him. He's getting higher up that list of all-time champions now at this point as well. But let's just jump straight into Collision, shall we? And let's talk about the opening match between Jon Moxley and Shane Taylor, because this was such a fun, hard-hitting opening bout. It was a really fun way to open the show. But here's the thing. And I keep saying this, and I will continue to say it. I know AEW fans don't like it when I say this, but it's the truth. The truth is that because they're naturally, like every TV program will do, they're losing viewers slightly. They need to bring in new fans. And if you're bringing in new fans, you need to explain who wrestlers are. Shane Taylor, let's say if somebody's been watching Collision now for, a month and a half, 2 months, right? They're not going to know who Shane Taylor really is. He's on Ring of Honor for the most part. They didn't explain why this match was happening, who he is. I mean, come on. I would have liked them to give a bit of context behind it. But it was a really fun match and a great way to open the show. But come on, a promo package, something. Explain to us why we should care. Clark, what was your thoughts on this one?
You make a great point, and I defend AEW a lot of times for different booking decisions and whatnot, but I'm a huge Shane Taylor fan personally, and longtime fan. In fact, I got a funny story or whatever. At All Out last year, we're sitting in the front row, and he put on a heck of a match with Samoa Joe. It was a slugfest. I'm a Shane Taylor fan, but there's this one dude sitting behind us who couldn't stop yelling, "Who's Shane Taylor? Who's Shane Taylor?" And to the extent that we had to turn around and be like, "Dude, he's the guy that's slugging it out with Samoa Joe right now. Relax." But that brings up your broader point, which is we need to know. So we need to know. We need other people to know who Shane Taylor is. I can defend him all day long. I enjoyed the match last night. I enjoyed the finish of the match in particular, especially on an MMA night. Got some nice grappling. Shane Taylor can really go. We all know Moxley can go. Moxley in the corner being upset. I don't mind it in the least. I had no problem with that myself. But to your point, this could have been a bigger deal. And I understand that.
It could and it should have been. That is for sure. But I mean, that guy in the crowd, obviously an idiot. You should not be chanting that. But again, it is true. Who is he?
Right.
To a casual fan like him, we all know who Shane Taylor is. But AEW need to attract some of the casual WWE audience. And if they can, even some, non-wrestling fans, get them into wrestling. If you can do that, that is fantastic then as well. Shard brings up a great point saying Shane Taylor, Eddie Kingston in a feud is something that he needs. Oh, I love that, Shard. Great point. And Bobby Petito says it's great to see Shane Taylor on AEW Collision. And I mean, Itaza Rabani on Instagram saying, "Who's Huck?" Come on now. And he's also saying, "Who's Taylor?" as well. But, I mean, come on now. But we get it. We get it, Itaza. You're clearly a Roman Reigns fan, and fair enough. I am too. I acknowledge the tribal chief, but I also acknowledge Shane Taylor. He's great. AEW, tell us why the rest of us should care, though. But I mean, Sol, what about you? What did you think about this opening contest on AEW Collision?
This was a lovely contest. I mean, I have absolutely no problem with it. Shane Taylor's an absolute beast of wrestling himself. Mentioned the Samoa Joe match, the former Ring of Honor television champion and six-man champion with Shane Taylor Promotions. So the man has got a bit of history, and he's great. But I love what you mentioned there, I think, because you got me ready for my spicy takes. The spicy takes are already igniting already as we speak. You mentioned the casual audience, and I personally believe doesn't exist. Non-existent. Errol 404 does not exist. Now, here's why I say that, my friend. Look at Raw and SmackDown's viewership, right? They're very stagnant, but very high. We would agree on that. They're very high viewership, and they're very good viewership. But I think the reason why that is because, obviously, taken to many factors. Timing of the program, the networks, and people have busy things in their schedule. Also, there could be DVR as well that will boost the viewership. And I have no doubt in my mind that Raw and SmackDown have very high viewerships with DVR, as well, I believe, AEW, NXT, and many others. Now, what I am very interested by is, obviously, if we take a look back at wrestling's television viewership, skyrocket high. I think it's like 3 or 4 million, even 6 or odd years ago. Very high. But I obviously think as well, the way we consume media in our day and age is very different to then how it was.
That's true. Yeah.
Very true. And obviously, I think with AEW as well, what it has for me, especially upon Raw or SmackDown, if I wanted to watch Raw or SmackDown live, I'd have to buy, I believe it's like TNT Sports right here for the UK. I don't do much research, but I do some. So I'm correct. That's the way to view it live. With AEW, it's Fight is an easy thing, $7 subscription, and you get all three. You get Rampage, you get Dynamite, and you get Collision. So yes, while the viewership might not increase, might not go up high that we may want to see, the thing is that people consume media in different ways now. And as well, more people are watching it at a later date. They might tape it. Doesn't mean that they're tuning in. They're just not tuning in when it's live. And people consume media at different points in time. So yeah, the casual audience, I don't think it exists. I think wrestling has its niche and its highs. I don't think we'll ever get back to 4 million views for either Raw or SmackDown. I don't personally think it. I think with AEW, they have a very hardcore fan base. They are the hardcore wrestling fans. Can AEW attract maybe some people who watch Raw or SmackDown and heck, even NXT just because they love the WWE? Because at the end of the day, the WWE is wrestling. You say wrestling to anyone on the street, they're going to immediately think of Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and The Rock, because there's such a connection with that word, with that company. So yeah, personally, I ain't fussed. I'm happy.
I understand a lot of what you said, though, and a lot of what you said is true about the viewerships. I mean, people say that, wrestling isn't as big as it was, during the Monday Night Wars, and that's true. It's not quite. But it's not actually as far off as people think, because the way people consume media now is very different, like you said. Absolutely true. I couldn't agree more. And also in the UK, not just Fight TV, more people actually watch it on ITV in the UK than Fight TV. It's just you can't watch it live on ITV. It's a few days later or whatever. But that's absolutely true. But, I mean, the casual audience, come on. Of course it exists. I mean, I know so many people who know that I'm a wrestling fan and who only watch the WWE at Royal Rumbles and WrestleManias or whatever, and maybe haven't even heard of AEW. And they're a casual, a casual fan. I mean, they undoubtedly exist. You must know some people like that who only watch the big shows.
I'm a very niche gentleman. I live in my humble abode and don't get out much. As you can see, I've been wearing the same suit for the last 8 months. So yes, I don't get out much.
And think that all genders should fight for the tag team championships. Yeah, you live in your own bubble, bro.
That's actually his sleeping suit, guys. You got to give him credit there.
I do clean my attire. I actually care about personal hygiene as well. So I'm just saying.
Unlike most wrestling fans, in fairness.
It's not the same suit, guys. He has 300 matching suits.
We got Itaza Rabani in the comments again over on Instagram saying AEW stands for, this is awful, but it's quite funny, all empty wrestling. But
woof.
Come on, I mean, that is quite funny, but come on now, that's not true. It's not true at all. But
nope.
just like that's not true, neither is casual fans not existing. But let's now move on to talk about the next contest, which was Adam Copeland's Open Challenges Continue, where he faced off against Dante Martin. Every week he faces, surprise opponent. This week, Dante Martin, I mean, it's kind of, following a theme now where he's facing a younger guy who's maybe, not thought of by that many in, I guess, a fantastic light or whatever. He's not somebody who's in the spotlight. I think that's the better way to say it. I don't know what I tried to say at first. But Adam Copeland's clearly trying to elevate them. He's trying to elevate these younger talents while continuing to build himself back up to face Christian Cage. And I really, really like that. I love how he's giving back. Yes, he's winning, but he's giving these great, younger guys a good showing. And I think that really is fantastic. My only complaint is and it's not necessarily even a complaint yet, but it's a concern. And that is, I hope they do other proper feuds before they return to the Christian Cage, Adam Copeland stuff again. Because we've seen it, twice now. I'm not sick of it. I don't want to say I'm sick of it because I'm never sick of them together. But I'd like to, wait a few more months and maybe see Copeland have a few feuds with other people, a few short feuds before we get back to, that big match once again. But Chaos, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, this was a fun match. I agree. Definitely when I saw it was Dante Martin, it was definitely one of those matches where I never really thought about it at the time, but when he came out, I was like, okay, yeah, this is someone that he hasn't touched. And I was like, okay, yeah, I want to see this. And yeah, the chemistry was sweet. I mean, it was obviously nothing, it wasn't like 5-star, but Edge kept up with Dante Martin. I've always been a fan of Dante Martin. Like even You guys might not remember, but yeah, like I always sang his praises. Like I do still think that he could be could definitely hold a singles championship at some point. I'm not saying the world title because I doubt it, but I think he could definitely be one of the highlights of the show. Like he could be their Ricochet, you know, that kind of thing. So I'm glad that he's back. I'm glad that they put him in a singles thing and not trying to go down the top flight thing entirely. And yeah, they just messed well. I did love the spear out of nowhere in the air as well. That was sweet. Now that move now is now called the Grindhouse. It's not called the crippler crossface anymore for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's but yeah, it was a solid showing. I do like this Coldplay Open, and it's giving a highlight to all these wrestlers that ain't really getting much time. But yeah, it's a good showing. They don't necessarily have to win against him, but I agree they should not run this Copeland against Christian thing again. Like I don't want it to happen at Revolution. I think that is definitely going to be more about Sting. That's the biggest thing. I don't think you need to waste that match and possibly him actually getting the title for sure at Revolution. I think it should definitely be at a later date. Or another pay-per-view that might pop out of nowhere. But yeah, I agree. I'm enjoying this run. I'm enjoying this thing that Christian's doing. And we'll just have to see what happens. But yeah, it definitely has to have a significant meaning. And especially since they are bringing rankings back, definitely implement this open challenge into the rankings and then make him be more of a more believable challenger for Christian's title. So yeah, keep it going. Very solid match.
I mean, we've got a couple of comments here on Instagram. One's from, again, Itaza Rabani saying he loves our podcast. So thank you so much, and thank you for watching. We've got Coach 23 on Instagram saying no one has been elevated from the Cope Open. Is anyone talking about how good Griff Garrison did in the first match? Yeah, me neither. I mean,
that's Griff Garrison.
It's better than nothing.
It's better than nothing.
At least he's got that in his portfolio.
Dante, is he? He's not Dante, so.
But he's got that in his portfolio now too, at least. So I don't know.
How organized?
I don't think it's going to harm.
Is.
Say again?
But I mean,
like a 3-ring binder.
Oh no! Here we go.
Wrestlers do have portfolios. A lot of it's usually independent wrestlers starting up, but they do. I remember at one point there was a thing where Wrestling Republic would randomly get like emailed, tons of them. Like we didn't put anything out about it. People were just emailing them to us, and it was like in like 2019. It was really random. But I
like to picture it like more of a scrapbook, like he staples a ticket in there. A couple pictures from the match.
Oh, that's gold. That really is. But I mean, listen, I said the other day, having random talents on AEW, I don't like. You need to cut down the roster a little bit. I only showcase so many talents or whatever, right? But if you're going to have, talent showcased randomly, especially in a capacity against Adam Copeland, have it be the younger talents who are maybe, finding their footing on Ring of Honor or something like that. Because at least then you're like, well, hopefully one day they'll be a regular on AEW TV. And in the case of Dante Martin, he already is. He's just normally in a tag team. So this was not one of those ones where I had an issue. That'll come later in this show. But let's now move on, and let's now move on to talk about the women's division, because, well, they gave this match a bit of time, and it was really good. Thunder Rosa, Queen Amorata, again, only one women's match. But at least, unlike on SmackDown, this one was given a bit of time. SmackDown, I didn't get to talk about it yesterday. Absolute embarrassment. The women's division got 3 minutes on a 2-hour show. I said it about AEW, so I'll say it about SmackDown. I'm consistent with my opinions, guys. But, sure, Thunder Rosa, Queen Amorata, really, really fun match. My only issue with it is we've seen Queen Amorata on AEW TV like twice a week for the past few weeks. And that's not my issue. I actually think she's amazing. I've become a big fan of hers. But my issue is she's lost every single time. And you're still giving her more matches on TV. You've got to give her a win. You do. You can't just keep having somebody take losses and then give them a big match again the next week. It's really weird. But I'm glad I'm glad to see her, but just give her a win. What was your thoughts, Clark?
First off, you scared me to death there when you said that'll be later in the show, and I looked at the next segment being the women's division in AEW. I was like, does he mean now? Is it now? Is now later in the show? I'm like, that would have been so fast, but no. I enjoyed the match myself, and I've become a huge fan of Queen Amarada as well over the last few weeks. I think she's put in amazing work. Thunder Rosa, they mentioned it 10,000 times that it's the first singles match in 18 months. She wasn't going to take a loss in this one, so that's a tough place to fight from. Did Queen Amarada make it close? Yes, that's what I enjoyed so much. It was great back and forth. It was given time. It was a quality finish. It's Thunder Rosa. She's back. I'm a huge Thunder Rosa fan. Been listening to her a lot on Busted Open over the last year while she's recovered from her injuries, and really, really become a fan of not just her work, but her attitude outside of the ring. I think she's going to be what she's supposed to be, which is at the top of the card and a face of the AEW women's division now that she's back and healthy and in the ring. And that's what we need. And adding extra work like Spanish commentary, a radio show is that much more impressive. Thunder Rosa can do about anything. And so of the losses that Amarada, I'm sorry, Amarada.
You said it right. Yeah,
I believe you said it right. Time.
Yeah.
Of the losses she's taken, Thunder Rosa is the least egregious in my eyes. But I do hear where you're 100% coming from, that it's one of those things where we got to get her a win because she's putting in excellent work.
Yeah, I mean, just to be clear, guys, I'm not saying she should have beat Thunder Rosa, because Thunder Rosa should not have lost in her first match back. But if she's on TV, like she was on Rampage, I believe, this week.
Yeah.
Then she was on Rampage last week, and she was on Dynamite last week. And it's great. She's looked impressive in every single one, but like she's lost every single one. So from a kayfabe perspective, I mean, you're bringing back these rankings now.
Right.
Like,
I was going to mention that, but I didn't want to get ahead of myself. But yeah, if we're bringing back wins and losses, that's a tough record to climb back from, right? You know, when you lose a number in a row, it's like, ugh.
I mean, if this was in the UFC with the rankings, Dana White, I think, would have fired her by now. But, or is this one of those ones where Dana White keeps them just because, you know, their fights are so entertaining and fans are like, why are they getting matches? You know, they're being protected, whatever. But no, I really do hope she gets a win because she has a lot of potential. She really, really does. Bobby Petito would like to see her face Willow. Oh, take my money. And Athena too. Oh, I like these shouts, guys. I like these shouts indeed. But now let's move on, and let's now move on to talk about the Bang Bang Scissor Gang. I am not happy, guys, at all. I am absolutely furious about this, right? Because AEW signed one of the best heels in the world. Somebody who's just a natural at getting heel heat in Jay White. His style of wrestling, it's slow, it's methodical. You have to be a heel, otherwise it's, dare I say, boring, right? His style is perfect for a heel. But why? Oh, why are you turning him into a comedy babyface? I don't care if this is going to lead to Jay White then turning on the Acclaimed and whatever. I don't care. Unless he does that next week, in which case maybe I'll let it slide. But I can tell, even if this is like, you know, like a 4-8 week storyline, it's stupid. You've made him look like an idiot. And you guys know me, I love sports entertainment. I don't usually mind this stuff. But Jay White should not be the one in this situation. He really, really should not be, because it's going to do his career absolutely no help. And just to be clear, I like the Acclaimed. I think a lot of what they do is funny. I do. I just don't think Jay White should be involved. But Saul, what's your thoughts on it?
Okay, Allison, a wee question for you, my friend. What crowd reaction is Jay White and the Guns getting in the moment in AEW? They're getting cheered, right?
They got cheered last night, but that's not been a regular thing. Throughout the Continental Classic, he was being booed.
I think it's been quite regular. So what happened with the Acclaimed?
He was being booed like 2 weeks ago in the Continental Classic.
So when the Acclaimed were heels with the Guns and Billy Gunn, and they were getting booed, what happened? changed from face, went on a tag team run, and then ended up getting trios with Billy Gunn, leading the Guns disappearing. So I love this segment. I love the Bang Bang Scissor Gang, so I'm happy with that. So here's what I think will happen, right? These guys are going to do a fun group. They're going to sell a ton of merch because everyone will love them. Then down the line, I think what will happen is either at Revolution, I think maybe it's a bit too soon. So I'm thinking maybe Double or Nothing. We're going to have a unification double turn match. In this match will be the Acclaim versus Bullet Club Gold with the Ring of Honor 6-man and the AEW trios on the line in a unification match. And out of that match, the Guns and Jay White will become true baby faces, and the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass will become heels. I think that's the situation we're going for, because I hate to admit it, I think the Acclaimed are losing their heat a bit. They're losing their momentum. They're not being as cheered as much as they were before. And I think sometimes you have to switch it up. If Jay White and the Guns are getting cheered from high heavens and people chanting Guns up all the time as well, they've also got Juice Box Robinson replacing Cardblade, so they've got another great member in that. I actually love that. Get we mini ones as well. We can have them on our desks. It'd be a great addition. So yeah, I think that's going to happen down the line. A unification match with 6-man titles, Ring of Honor and the trios of AEW, and a double turn, the Acclaimed going heel. And think about it. We loved the raps Matt Caster would do when he was a face. But how good were they when he was a heel? True spicy rap. Yeah, so I got no complaints about this, my friendo, Sonny old boy. You don't look happy.
A 6-man tag unification match with a double turn.
Yes.
That's something out of Vince Russo's dreams.
Whoa.
What?
Whoa.
If it was Vince Russo, there would be like 6 run-ins, a forklift with someone's mum on it as well, just for extra fun.
And it would definitely happen backstage.
Yeah, probably. And as well, there would be like a 2-minute match as well. It would crash TV. No, this is not Vince Russo booking, my friend. This is actually good booking. So, because look, we can say what we want about the Ring of Honor division in itself, but it is lacking. You know, the 6-man titles haven't had a new design of the new era. TV title has, the women's has, even the tags have, and this new women's championship has, and even the world championship as well. But the 6-mans have stayed the same from the buyout. It makes me think there was maybe no plan for them. Get them on the Mogul Embassy and see where things goes if Ring of Honor got a TV deal. Obviously it didn't, so what's the next best thing? Put them on a hot act with another hot act where you have another 3-man title and unify them. Put the histories together, and maybe you could get some good story out of it.
I don't mind that. I don't at all. My issue is this the Jay White face turn. I think his style won't work, and he's shown time and time again when he's tried to do other styles, he ends up just going back to his normal style. And I've watched Jay White literally his entire career, and I mean this. He's tried to be face a couple of times, and every time it's failed, like absolutely failed, because of his in-ring style. It does not work to wrestle the style that he does as a babyface. Now, in a 6-man tag team match, you can get away with it more. I will say that. You can. But still, I don't think that'll be the case, and neither does Coach 23, who says he doesn't think a unification will happen, as TK loves his belts. Well, I do think a unification will happen, though. I do agree with that, but I don't think it should consist of a babyface switchblade. But now let's move on. And let's move on to Buddy Matthews facing Daniel Garcia, your favorite Chaos. We all know you love the dances that he does. But this match was a lot of fun, wasn't it? Daniel Garcia, I mean, obviously TK is a big fan of him. Obviously AEW have big plans for him. Now, I've said it before and I'll say it again. His style of wrestling is difficult to get it over in the United States. It really, really is. The dancing helped massively because it just gave the crowd something to relate to, and that just translated really, really well to the product for certain and got him over. And then since then, things have kind of flipped. His phenomenal performances in the Continental Classic truly helped him. What's his name on commentary as well? What's his name?
Nigel McGuinness?
No, Daddy Magic.
Oh, Daddy Magic. I'm sorry. Yeah, Matt Menard.
Matt Menard. Yeah, sorry.
Matt Menard, that's the one.
My
chaos
McMuff,
there,
my-
chaos.
My, my
Caught in
McMuff, buddy.
4K. No, so he's really helped elevate him as well with his commentary work, actually, because that's made his matches on TV come across even more entertaining. But this match was really, really fun, and he ended up winning by the roll-up. Correct decision. Younger guy winning a match. Great decision. Buddy Matthews did not look weak at all in the loss. So I'm all good with this. And then after it, absolute chaos ensued with just, them being split up. Then wrestlers coming up and splitting them up. Now, when you have creepy guys like the Righteous coming and splitting people up from fighting, it's dumb as anything. It's one of my least favorite things in wrestling. Why on earth would the Righteous want to come out and split up a fight which has nothing to do with them? I don't know. It was dumb. I hate it. I hate when WWE do it. And I hate now that AEW have done it as well. But the rest of the segment I really enjoyed. And I'm also excited for the 6-man tag team match next week between FTR and the House of Black in a steel cage. And an elimination one too. It certainly sounds a bit chaotic. But I'm excited. Chaos, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, another solid match on the show. I agree. Both of them look solid. No one got buried. It was, it was a lot of hard hitting moves. There was a lot of technical moves as well on Daniel Garcia's side. I agree. This whole dancing thing. My argument, my thing is that yeah, sure, you could be the greatest wrestler of all time, but you need to have some kind of gimmick or something for someone to relate to, actually remember you by. There's so many people that are very proficient, very great in the ring, but they are just dull as a chalking board. It's just there's nothing, there's no persona to him. So I'm glad that he's brought that to light, and yeah, he's just ran with it for so long, and it's still over. It's almost, I wouldn't say Orange Cassidy. The way I say Orange Cassidy levels is in terms of he hasn't really changed much since he's been there, and the thing is still hella over. You know what I'm saying? It's just something very simple, and it's still over this whole time. So I'm very glad for him. The right call was made at the end. The my only gripe with this match was that, I don't know about you guys, but I just hated the fact that FTR was sidelined in terms of just being managers outside. I just didn't feel like that really matched. I can't imagine them actually doing that, because they don't usually do that. They're usually taking up being a part of the match, like CM Punk with the FTR, Edge with FTR, seeing them just trying to will Daniel Garcia and just being cornermen. It felt weird to me seeing FTR like that. I don't know what it was. Obviously it was all to set up because of the big brawl at the end. I agree. I didn't even know it was the Righteous until you even mentioned it, bro. All I saw was a bunch of goobers. And why are you sending so many people? These ain't like big, beefy guys. This ain't Braun Strowman, Big Show, and Mark Henry. Like, why you need all these kind of people to try and separate all these guys? It was really weird. But yeah, that was my only gripe. I didn't like seeing FTR in that kind of capacity, because I just don't believe them being that kind of tag team, being at the side and willing their tag partner on. But for what it was solid. Loved it. And yeah, more Daniel Garcia, please, more Daniel Garcia.
Well, I think you'll certainly be seeing more of him very, very soon. Let's see. New Morn Superflight is saying, hopefully in the future we can get a dance battle segment between Prince Nana and Daniel Garcia. I mean, we kind of did, didn't we? During the Continental Classic, right? I swear we did. Yeah, we did. Can I remember comment at the time?
No, we got it, and then Swerve attacked Garcia from behind before he could retaliate. As far as the second dance, we saw the initial exchange, but that was the real true tease, by the way. If you go back and watch the film, Nana gets in both parts of his dance. And
it does make me wonder who is one of them ones. Wait, who do you think would actually win? I would love to know who would win. It would be very tight.
I'd like to see him.
Let's get this on Dancing with the Stars.
In round two,
Strictly Come Dancing. That's more appropriate for those two, right?
In round two, I think we call it a 3-round.
The Americans won't know that.
We have them both do their own respective dances in the first round, and then in the second round they do each other's dances. Third round freestyle. We get judges. I think we're on to something here. This is huge.
This is
TK,
going to be
if
the
you're
next
Clark's
one.
going to be
listening-
angry with you, Clark.
If you're listening, let me
Clark,
know.
He is not going to be happy. But now let's move on. Let's talk about the main event match. Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli taking on Eddie Kingston and Ortiz. And at first, I thought, why is this feud continuing? I thought Eddie Kingston squashed the beef with the BCC when he won the Continental Classic. But no, apparently that was just with Jon Moxley. And this is to maybe show a divide within the Blackpool Combat Club. I understand that, and I don't mind it as much because of that. But even still, I'm kind of tired of seeing Eddie Kingston feud with them now. Please just let Eddie feud with some other people who aren't the BCC, because it feels like for the past 2 years, a lot of the time he just seems to be in and out of feuds with them. But my big issue with this match wasn't the match itself. It was that during the match, AEW had 7 announcements, right? They had, I think it was 5 matches. Then they had the rankings coming back, and then they had something else as well. 7 announcements during your main event match. Do it before the match. Don't, take people away from the match. I mean, they even announced Adam Copeland during Suzuki during it. I mean, that's an excuse to get on your phone and tweet. Text your friends. Tell them Adam Copeland and Suzuki are wrestling next week. But nope, instead you have to continue watching the match. Well, most people probably didn't. They probably went on their phones anyway. But it took away from the action, and I feel really bad for the wrestlers involved because they put on a good match. They put on a good performance, solid main event. Tony Khan, AEW, come on, please, guys, please have these announcements before the main event, because you normally do, and it's a lot better when you do. You should not have things taken away from the main event like you did last night, because it doesn't even benefit you at all, because you don't have the same reaction to Edge and Suzuki wrestling that you would have had if you did it right before a break, so then people could go and tell their friends and then get you more views. How about that? But Chaos, what did you think about the main event on Collision?
God, you need to be careful, man. I swear, I thought he was about to burst a vessel right there. God damn, I could see something throbbing in your neck. I agree. There was a bit of a randomness to have 7 announcements during the match. And also it did it all over again at the end as well, which is that was a bit overkill. But speaking of, do you guys miss when Excalibur literally reeled off like 300 words in about 2 minutes? That was a good.
He needs his lungs, Chaos. He needs some lung capacity. The man has stamina rest.
He just doesn't do anymore. But fair enough. But yeah, I'll be going back to the main event. It was solid. I'm glad that Ortiz got a main event that's not on Rampage. That's for sure. It was fun for what it was. I do agree that I'm kind of annoyed that they're still running this back regarding Kingston and Danielson, but I think that it does need to be in a high profile feud, that someone that's not really as busy, in order to keep the Continental Crown kind of relevant. So I guess that's why they're kind of running it back in a way. He's only the next person. I mean, everyone else is busy in terms of a top name. So I guess that's kind of why, to buy some time until everything gets wrapped up. But anyway, Danielson and Castagnoli got the W. I'm happy for that. I haven't really got much to really say. Really, it was just a typical Collision main event. That's all I could say. Really,
solid action.
Yeah,
about it.
That's what it was. But yeah, it was a nice little bow on a solid Collision. That's all I can say. Let's just see where it goes with. I'm more concerned about the Continental Crown right now and see what is the end goal, because right now I do not see the end goal.
I don't either. I really do not. So, what about you? What were your thoughts on this main event? Did there need to be maybe a bit more of a headline coming out of this show?
I mean, first of all, match was solid. Announcements, I got no problem with it. I remember there was a Fighter Fest. They literally ran off like 20 things in the main event in the span of 10 minutes. So no problems. But here's what I'll say about the Continental Crown, right? I have no problems with the championship. I think it's fine in the way it is. As I've said before, if he didn't defend it, people would moan. If he did defend it, people would moan, because people like to moan. They are, what Bryan Danielson said, fickle. So here's what I would do, right? Out of this match, there was a little backstage interview segment that was exclusive to the AEW Instagram, where it continues to show that Bryan basically has no respect for Eddie. And it kind of reminds me of the Jericho feud with Kingston back at Revolution 2022, where it was all about respect, like Booker T said in TNA. But I can't do that accent. It's terrible. I mean, my vocal cords can't do that. So here's why we do, right? Revolution. Run back run back Claudio versus Eddie Kingston for Continental Crown, right? Claudio was like, well, you beat me for that original championship, but now I'm more determined to take those free belts off you, right? Now you're probably wondering, what's Bryan going to do at Revolution? Simple. Bryan Danielson, Will Ospreay. That's why we booked for Revolution. Book that for Revolution. And then out of that, I would have Eddie Kingston continue to do some defenses, but I also agree as well that out of this, Moxley is going to be like, hey, I respect him. Why can't you? And then Bryan's like, I don't respect him and all that. And that's going to lead to maybe a BCC division. They'll have original BCC with Claudio and Bryan. And then maybe, I don't know, Liverpool Combat Club with Moxley and Yuta, just to make the divides. I'm just saying. So, yeah, I have no problems with this. I've always liked the BCC. I like Yuta. I think Yuta is going to be a future big star in the company because I think he's great. I feel like Bryan as well this year, it's really for him hitting the highlights. This is his last full in-ring year as an active competitor. So you really want to get the highlight matches out of the way. You want to get Bryan Danielson versus Ospreay. I want, Bryan versus Joe. Again, I want Bryan versus Swerve. I want Bryan versus someone like Dante Martin, or I want him against Daniel Garcia again. I mean, I said it as well. I want it for All In. I want his match to be against Nigel McGuinness. Look at them versus ROH United. That match pretty much not only put Bryan, I think, on the map, but Nigel as well. It's a very, very important match within Ring of Honor history, and I also think the UK scene as well. So, yeah, I think good things will come out of this. Again, people need to learn a bit about patience. Come on, man. Learn patience.
I would agree that I'd like to see Danielson versus McGuinness at All In, and they've been building that in commentary too, which is, they're planting the seeds, which I love. I love long-term storytelling. You guys know that. But with Ospreay, Danielson, you can give us a couple of weeks story if they're going to do that. I'd like to see a bit of story involved because you've got a little bit of time as well. But Clark, what about you? What did you think about the main event on Collision?
Well, first, I want to mention Excalibur's lung capacity is so good. That dude could go scuba diving without a tank. It's remarkable, actually, how quickly he's able to talk and how much air he's able to hold. That is wild. I don't know how he does it.
It is.
But I enjoyed the main event. I liked it. The initial exchange, Vintage Danielson, makes the crowd wait. The whole thing. I love that. The theatrics of it. Eddie chants. Crowd really into it. That part of it I loved. The story stuff you guys really covered. I agree on a lot of what a lot of different people said on this. There's different routes you can go. Maybe a divide in the BCC makes sense. Soul made great points about maybe even an Ospreay Danielson or Danielson's potential matchups leading to Nigel McGuinness. I get all of that. I have one complaint because I love Eddie Kingston more than anything. I think he's great on the microphone, in the ring. But why can't I stop giggling when he does the machine gun chops? Why does it consistently just make me giggle like a child? I'm like, dude, it's just like bang, 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 bang. And it's too much for me now at this point. He's either got to deliver them harder or not as fast.
Further away.
Something from further away. Yeah, it's just, it cracks me up because he's just slapping him in the chest on these little short strikes. And
he's knackered halfway. He's knackered.
They don't hurt.
I can't wrap my head around it. But I did love the match. And at the end of the day, I want Santana and Ortiz back so badly in a tag team ring. And I know it's not really possible, but that's just my wrestling dream. I know Christmas was a few months ago or a month ago, but if Santa's listening to this, can we reunite Proud and Powerful and Santana and Ortiz for me? If you're listening up there, Santa, by next year, please. It's number one on my list. I want Proud and Powerful back. I'm begging you.
He's checking it twice.
He's checking it twice.
But we got a comment from Shadia saying, rumor is Excalibur wrote the song Rap God for Eminem. That is great. And on that note, we'll finish the show. If you guys enjoyed, please like and subscribe on YouTube. If you're on Spotify, please give us a cheeky 5 stars. It makes my day. On all the other platforms, please support us. We're here every day. Tomorrow is Mailbag Monday, where you could submit your questions for us via our Instagram story immediately following the show. I'll be putting it up. Thank you to Clark. Thank you to Chaos. And thank you to Soul for joining me on this fun show today. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Peace and yeet.